On the morning of December 6, 2009, in West Valley City, Utah, a woman named Susan Powell vanished from her home without a trace. At first, nothing about the day seemed unusual to outsiders. Susan was a 28-year-old mother of two young boys, living what appeared to be a normal suburban life. The night before her disappearance, everything seemed routine inside the household. But by the next morning, something had gone wrong inside that home, something that would never be fully explained. That morning, Susan's husband, Josh Powell, told authorities that he had taken their two sons camping in freezing winter conditions in the middle of the night. He claimed Susan stayed behind at home because she was tired. But when neighbors and family members began checking in later that day, Susan was nowhere to be found. Her purse, identification, and personal belongings were still inside the house. Her phone was also left behind. Nothing suggested she had left voluntarily. There were no signs of a planned trip, no messages, and no confirmed sightings of her after the previous afternoon when a neighbor briefly visited the home. When police were called to the residence, they initially feared a medical emergency, such as carbon monoxide poisoning. Officers searched the home room by room, but Susan was not there. However, they noticed something unusual inside the house that would later become important in the investigation, signs that the scene may not have been as normal as it first appeared. As investigators continued looking deeper, more inconsistencies began to appear. Susan never arrived at work that day, which was completely out of character. Her absence immediately raised concern among colleagues and family members. Within hours, the case shifted from a missing person report to a criminal investigation. Attention quickly focused on Josh Powell, not as a suspect at first, but as someone whose statements and actions required closer scrutiny. His explanation of a late-night camping trip with two young children during a winter storm raised immediate questions. Investigators attempted to verify his timeline, but many details did not align with physical evidence or environmental conditions in the area he described. As the investigation progressed, authorities discovered traces of evidence inside the home that suggested something far more serious may have occurred. They also learned that Susan had expressed fear about her marriage in private writings before her disappearance, describing concerns about her safety and the instability within the relationship. Despite extensive searches, interviews, and forensic analysis, no sign of Susan was ever found. Months turned into years, and the case grew colder. Public suspicion intensified, especially after further developments in the Powell family. In 2012, Josh Powell killed himself and their two sons in a house explosion during a supervised visit, a tragedy that shocked the country and permanently closed off one of the last remaining direct links investigators had to the case. Even after that, Susan Powell herself was never located. No remains were ever recovered, no confirmed explanation was ever proven in court, and no one was ever formally charged in connection with her disappearance. Over time, investigators publicly stated they believed she likely did not leave the home voluntarily, but without definitive evidence, the case remains officially unresolved. To this day, the disappearance of Susan Powell stands as one of the most haunting missing person cases in the United States. A woman walked into her own home and was never seen again. And despite years of investigation, searches, and theories, no one can say with certainty what truly happened inside that house in December 2009.